Another great friend, Lydia Blackmore, has been the decorative arts curator at the Historic New Orleans Collection since 2014. She earned an MA and a certificate in museum studies from the Winterthur program in American Material Culture at the University of Delaware. She also holds a degree in history from the College of William and Mary. Lydia has worked as a curator, researcher, and cataloger for private collectors and institutions such as Colonial Williamsburg, the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History, and the U.S. Supreme Court. As the first decorative arts curator at the Historic New Orleans Collection, Lydia is working to expand, conserve, and research the three-dimensional holdings. She's curated or co-curated several exhibitions, including It's Only Natural, Flora and Fauna in Louisiana Decorative Arts, Goods of Every Description, Shopping in New Orleans, 1825 to 1925, Pieces of History, 10 Years of Decorative Arts Fieldwork, and the upcoming Art and Artistry of Mardi Gras. Lydia will speak to us today on new acquisitions at the Historic New Orleans Collection. Lydia.
Hello, my decorative arts people. I am back to share some of the new acquisitions of the past year or so at the Historic New Orleans Collection. As we are all aware, the past 18 months have been marked by monumental changes in how we see and participate in the world, whether by keeping a safe social distance from one another or pushing for more voices to be heard. These changes have pushed us as historians and collectors to think critically about how we present our history and culture. As a result, the Historic New Orleans Collection has undergone strategic planning, and we curators are working on a new collecting policy. Acquisitions were slow at the beginning of the pandemic in 2020, but picked up once we were able to get back out to meet donors, dealers, and collectors. The 5 recent acquisitions I'll present today reflect our search to find outstanding elements of New Orleans history and culture. This Mardi Gras Indian suit is a stunning example of the art form. The suit was created by Chief Howard Miller of the Creole Wild West for Mardi Gras 2018 and was subsequently worn for St. Joseph's Day that year. This is the first full suit used in Black masking culture to be added to our collection, and its purchase was funded by the Losat Society. Mardi Gras Indians are one of New Orleans' greatest cultural treasures, taking to the streets each year in brightly colored suits to continue a legacy of performance, parading, music, and craftsmanship passed down for generations from people of African and Native American descent. Standing over 9 feet tall and 6 feet wide, the craftsmanship of this suit is clear in its bright red feathers all over rhinestones and fringe beadwork. The true artisanship is evident in the beaded panels of the apron and vest. The main scene depicts the Zulu tramps of the African-American carnival crew of Zulu, with beaded feathered headdresses and beaded necklaces, which stand proud through their use of larger beads. On the vest stand Zulu warriors, complete with loose beaded fringe around their boots. Native American beadwork is a cultural addition to the suit, used as an additional chest piece and collar. Chief Howard Miller is a respected artist and leader in the Mardi Gras Indian community. He is chief of the Creole Wild West, the oldest Mardi Gras Indian tribe, claiming roots reaching back to the first half of the 19th century. Miller is also president of the Mardi Gras Indian Council, director of the Creole Wild West Youth Program, and board president of the Ella Project. He is an advocate for the preservation of Mardi Gras Indian culture and for outreach, education, and support across the African-American cultural community in New Orleans. It was a pleasure to work with him on the acquisition of this suit, and I learned a lot from Chief Howard. An important addition to our photography collection is this 9th plate daguerreotype attributed to Jules Lion. Lion, a noted lithographer, is credited with bringing the daguerreotype process to New Orleans. The collection has approximately 275 lithographs by Lion, but we have no daguerreotypes by him. Lion daguerreotypes can be difficult to identify because he did not stamp or include any markers that would indicate an image was made by him. This daguerreotype descended in Lion's family before entering a prominent private collection. The sitter's hair and dress date to the mid-1850s. It's possible that her identity is Armentine Broyard, a free woman of color, and Leon's romantic partner. Broyard moved in with Leon when she was 15, and the couple had a son, Jules, in 1851. Jules Lion Jr.'s birth certificate lists Jacob Isaac Jules Lion and Miss Charlotte Armentine Broyard, a free woman of color, as his parents. Broyard fell ill and died in 1856. Long thought to be a free man of color himself, recent research indicates that Jules Lion might rather have been a French-born Jewish man. He is only listed in city directories with the initials FMC in the years of his relationship with Broyard from 1851 to 1856. Although there is no conclusive proof that the photographer was Jules Lion or that the sitter was Armentine Broyard, this daguerreotype is an important addition to our holdings of early photography in New Orleans and representations of people of color. If we were gathered, as we usually are in the Boyd Cruz room, you would have walked past this portrait on your way in. The oil on canvas portrait by Noel Rockmore, part of the Artist Preservation Hall series, shows band leader and traditional jazz trumpeter Percy Humphrey. Purchase of this portrait was also funded by our LOSAT Society. Humphrey began his career playing with Willie Cornish's band in the 1920s. In 1928, he joined Kid Howard's orchestra to work out of Chicago. He then played with the George Lewis Band in the 1940s, and in 1947 became the last leader of the Eureka Brass Band. In the 1960s and 70s, Humphrey led the Preservation Hall Band alongside Sweet Emma Barrett. He continued performing at Preservation Hall and elsewhere until just before his death in 1995. I love his personality that is captured in this portrait and stop and look at it every time I walk into the Williams Research Center. We recently acquired this original pen and ink watercolor view of the proposed gates of the Place d'Armes, now Jackson Square. The drawing is signed twice by celebrated early American architect Benjamin Henry Latrobe. He submitted plans for the fence and fountain at the square in 1819, but the city council rejected them as too expensive. An Englishman by birth, Benjamin Henry Latrobe is best known for his design of the U.S. Capitol building in Washington, but he and his son Henry are known here in New Orleans as collaborating on the plan to build the municipal waterworks from 1810 until Henry's death from yellow fever in 1817. Latrobe moved to New Orleans in 1819 to oversee the completion of that project, and while here also designed the central steeple of the St. Louis Cathedral and the Louisiana State Bank building, which is on Royal Street. Unfortunately, Latrobe also died of yellow fever in 1820. This is the first original architectural drawing by Latrobe acquired by the collection. It is a wonderful documentation of the growth of the city, especially with the details of all the ship's masts seen floating just beyond the walls of the Place d'Armes. We are grateful for the donation by Krista and Mike Dumas that made this acquisition possible. Another document of the growth of the city in the first half of the 19th century is this extremely rare and possibly unique 1837 map of the city of New Orleans, showing the situation of fire plugs and pipes of the commercial waterworks. The map is the work of Prussian engineer Henry Mollhausen and the earliest example of his work in New Orleans. Mollhausen indicates the location of all the fire hydrants in the city and the water mains that fed them. These water mains were not from the municipal waterworks that had been designed by Latrobe, but part of a new commercial water system installed in 1836 by the Commercial Bank of New Orleans. Other useful information on the map includes depictions of specific docks built along the river and the directory of foreign consuls then active in the port. The design and coloring of the map title is quite bold, suggesting that it may have served as an advertisement for Mollhausen's surveying and engineering skills. The lithography is of high detail and quality, having been done by Jules Manouvrier. I especially like the patterning in all of the letters, like the Paisley plan that you can see here. And finally, an acquisition slightly less recent, but still since the last time that we met, of an amazing artifact related to those last two pieces. This Cypress water pipe was part of the waterworks system envisioned by Benjamin Henry Latrobe. The system fed water from the Mississippi River into a steam-driven pump that was located at the intersection of present-day Decatur and Ursuline streets. From there, it entered into the network of hollowed-out logs that was used primarily to flush the streets of refuse and fight fire. The city oversaw this water system until 1836, when it handed over control to the Commercial Bank of New Orleans and their new water intake pump and reservoir at the Lower Garden District. The Commercial Bank's water system expanded plumbing across the city, as was documented in the Mollhausen map I just showed. The original Cypress pipes were fully replaced by iron by the 1880s, leaving most of the old wooden logs underground or in trash heaps for later archaeologists to find. No one knows how this section of pipe ended up at City Hall, but we are happy to accept it when they offered it as a gift at the end of 2019. In a city where infrastructure is often a heated topic, this Cypress pipe has much to add to the conversation. Thank you. And thank you for coming to Forum, even from your own homes. And I hope, as always, that you enjoy our programming. If you want to learn more about our collection, you can search the online database on our website. And if you have something you'd like to donate, please see our page on material donations.